Okay, I call to order this webinar, City of St. Louis Board of Public Service, Soldiers Memorial Commission. Today is Thursday, January 18th, 2024, and it is 3:07 p.m. My name is Linnea Magnuson, and I chair the commission. We will proceed according to the agenda, and the first thing on the agenda is a roll call of Soldiers Memorial Commissioners. And let me just pull up the agenda here for us. If I can do that. And go. All right. Can you hear me still?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you can't hear me, let me know and I will figure something out here. Can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Okay, got it. All right. So the first name we have, Soldiers Memorial Commission roll call is Corrine Barget.
Here.
Freddie Dunlap. Jason Fletcher. I know Jason's here.
He was, but I think he dropped off. I don't know why, but I don't see him anymore.
Okay. And Judith Hansis. Oh, okay. Me, Linnea Magnuson, yes. And Bruce Yampolsky? No, okay. Well, the first thing on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. So maybe Corrine can lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, see here. Well, the second thing on the agenda is approval of the September 21st, 2023 Soldiers Memorial Commission meeting minutes. But we're going to have to table that because we do not have a quorum. But I asked Mark if he could give us a recap of 2023 and maybe tell us some of the goals for 2024 at Soldiers Memorial. So Mark, if you could do that, that would be great.
All right. Thanks, Linnea. I'll share my screen.
Okay.
Oh, I think you'll need to stop sharing. It says, give me
Right.
a pop-up. Okay, let's see if I can do this now. Are you guys seeing the slides?
Yes.
Let's see if I can.
Oh my God.
How's that?
Yep, I can see that.
All right. This is the so Linnea asked me kind of look at 2023 and 2024, and so we've been really an emphasis at MHS with the new leadership has been kind of a heavy focus on attendance and looking at, you know, making sure that we have strong attendance goals and what those goals are. So I thought I'd give kind of a recap of what we've seen at Soldiers since the reopening. And so you can see 2018 was really just kind of phenomenal and very not normal. That represents only 2 months. That's November and December of 18, where we had 18,000 people through. 11,000 of those people came through in November, that very first month that we were open. And that kind of that you know, new buzz carried into 2019. We had really high attendance with close to 38,000. And that's, you know, that marketing push that was done in 18 was, you know, we've never seen anything like that again. And it was just, I mean, we were all over the news, as you all recall. It was all over the news. It was, you know, it was everywhere that this was happening. So that kind of continued to, you know, help attendance through 2019. And then unfortunately in early spring, late winter of 2020, of course, as you all know, we went into COVID and we lost tremendous amount of attendance, obviously down to about 8,000. We rebounded a little bit in 21, got close to 9,000, and then 22, pretty decent year with 12,000, still kind of getting our feet back under us from COVID. And then this year really felt like the best and probably the most normal of years that we've probably ever had, you know, since reopening at least. And we got close to 22,000. We really weren't quite sure what to expect. We thought we thought we might get closer to those 2019 numbers, but we got 22,000, and trying to figure out really what, you know, kind of where a reasonable baseline expectation is. And I think this year, I think we can get that over 22,000. So we've set 26,000 as the goal, the attendance goal for 2024. And I'll explain to you a little bit about how we hope to do that. But there's some of those key moments through the years on the bottom part of that slide: the reopening, COVID. Then in 2022, of course, Vietnam at war and at home. That again opened in November. So really you saw the impact of that more in 23 than you did in 22. You saw a couple months in 22, but then the really the boost in attendance happening through 23. And then again in 23, we had a very successful Memorial Day with the engraving of the additional names on the Vietnam War Memorial. That was highly attended as well. So those two were kind of key events recently. And then in 24 this year, we closed Vietnam in May, which we hope to see another kind of attendance spike there. We typically see that with people who have procrastinated and realize that you know, our Marcom team will do a push saying, hey, this is going to close, you need to get down here and check it out. So we should see a little bit of an attendance spike in May as people get nervous about the closing and wanting to come see that. And then in September, we'll open Ghost Army, the Con Artists of World War II, and that's a traveling exhibition from the National World War II Museum in New Orleans. And that looks at kind of the deceptive tactics that were being used during World War II to confuse German intelligence by the use of inflatable tanks and other inflatable howitzers and other devices that were being designed and made really by artists that the Army had recruited to work on that project. So it's a pretty interesting exhibit. Should go over pretty well. And again, that'll open in September, so that should help with attendance in 24, the year we're in now. Here's some 23 highlights. We had a very successful Memorial Day and meaningful. You know, of course, we engraved those names and had the ceremony with the red and black brass band doing the funeral dirge through the court of honor. It's incredibly well received, and a really nice, meaningful day. And then the next month in June, we had worked pretty closely with the MHM staff, Missouri History Museum staff, to expand our Pride Fest presence. We, of course, really get basically surrounded by Pride Fest. It occurs in all the parks on the east and west and north of us. And then, of course, Market Street is all shut down. So we get basically enveloped by Pride Fest. So we worked this way to find some new ways to ensure that you know, we were basically a part of it rather than just a you know, this kind of anomaly amongst this festival. Actually try to get more involved with the festival. So we showed a documentary in the assembly hall on both Saturday and Sunday that looked at basically the LGBT community who had served during World War II and what their experiences in that war and in service were like. And then we also created in one of the boardrooms up here, we created what we called the chill room. Pride Fest is kind of notoriously hot. It's usually in the 90s. People are baking. It's just every weekend I've been here anyway. It's ungodly hot. So we created a room up here where members of the Historical Society, as well as veterans and active military, could come chill out. We had a playlist going with some music. We had free cold drinks, snacks, and things like that, where people could just kind of chill out. Again, that was open to members and to military veterans and active duty. And then in July, we had really our best attended U.S. Grant Symposium. We've been doing that event with the Humanities Council since we reopened in 2019, and it was very well attended. And so we're looking to do that again, of course, this year. We started a new program in August called Matinees at the Memorial. These were 2 Sundays in August where we showed films in the Assembly Hall, and it was really low attended. It did not get good attendance, but I think it's got promise. So we're going to do it again this summer. We're going to show Oppenheimer, and we're going to show a documentary on the Ghost Army that will kind of hopefully raise awareness and boost attendance at the exhibit that will open the month after that. We also had our best attended stand up event in September. We had over 180 veterans who were registered and participated in the event, and approximately 60 vendors that really filled just about every nook and cranny of Soldiers Memorial, including the outdoor space. Veterans Day went very well in 23. And we estimate about 550 people some were in our direct vicinity here at Soldiers, either inside the building or out front. Added a few new elements this year, and that's kind of been Molly and I. What we've been doing is basically adding 1 or 2 things each year. And this year we added the bomb team came up from Fort Leonard Wood, and they were working in Kaufman Park with both dogs and robots. And then the Molly organized the off-road herds. This is an all-women's Jeep club to basically pull out of the parade and park on 13th Street between Chestnut and Pine, and let kids and others come out and get a close look at the Jeeps. And the Jeeps are really cool. They're all they're very thematic. The different Jeep owners have picked different themes and kind of decked them out in different ways. So it's pretty cool. And then post 422 they were slinging the hot dogs to parade participants. Again, that was on the corner of 13th and Chestnut. And they went through all the dogs this year pretty quickly. So we're going to need to expand that next year. But overall, it was a good day. We saw a real increase in rentals. And this, again, is a tribute to the work that Molly does in coordinating these. But we see regular promotions, retirements, change of commands, that type of stuff from the active military community. But then we also get some other interesting events. We had Correctional Peace Officers Day. They held their day here. There was over 400 people here, both correctional officers and their family and friends. And that was out front here at Soldiers Memorial. That was a very large event. And then all of April, we worked with the VA, and they hosted their National Veterans Creative Art Festival here. And that was a really cool thing, because our partners at the VA were so, I mean, they just loved it that they were able to be here at Soldiers Memorial, and they were able to use, we basically emptied out that JCT Assembly Hall and turned that into an art exhibition gallery. So they had all of that veteran created art was up for all of April, which was cool, which was just neat. I mean, it was great for our visitors because it was very unexpected for them, that they come here thinking you're going to see a military history museum, which of course they saw, but then there's also all this veteran creative art that was here. The VA said that it set a new standard for this annual art festival. It travels across the country every year. And this was really the first year where they've ever been able to keep the art on display in a very appropriate and fitting place, and get so much public access to it. So that was really cool. And another thing in 23 that we did was a lot of outreach, and this is really on the backs of a couple of our volunteers who stepped up, and they've taken on this, that they kind of created and then took on this idea to go and speak to as many groups as they can about Soldiers Memorial. So they started with the American Legions and the VFWs. They've reached out to all of the DARs, the Daughter of the American Revolutions. Got an email from one of them yesterday. Now they're looking at the Kiwanis clubs and the Rotary clubs, and they basically send a letter to every one of these organizations and say, hey, can we come tell you about Soldiers Memorial for 15 or 20 minutes during your next monthly meeting? And so they've been doing a lot of outreach, a lot of spreading the word about Soldiers Memorial, encouraging attendance, letting them know what's here, what's going on. And so that's pretty cool too. And that's all kind of under the radar. It's just a couple of the volunteers who have taken that on and are doing some pretty great work. So in 24, really, I think the easiest way I can describe it is we're really moving towards solidifying our annual recurring events. And this is for a few reasons. The primary one being that programs that I call one-off programs, which are lectures or special presentations on this, that, and the other, they're really poorly attended, and so we're kind of like, well, we don't really know if that's working so well. So what we're going towards is establishing an annual calendar of events that people come to anticipate and expect. And then it also allows kind of, our limited capacity to make sure that we're making these events the best that they can be, and that they're getting the maximum marketing and communication resources that they can get. So here's kind of a look at that calendar as it stands now. January and February are both open months. We have a couple ideas for those. One of them is a Gold Star Families and Mothers event that would probably be some sort of dinner or breakfast, which would probably happen for the first time in 25, if we can get that off the ground. Then we're this year in March, we're doing Vietnam Veterans Day breakfast, which is an annual event on March 29th. That's annual National Vietnam Veterans Day. That'll be a free breakfast for any Vietnam veteran and their friends or family. So that'll be happening here in the assembly hall, and maybe overflow into the other rooms as needed. April again is an open month. And those open months are also important because a lot of times we get contacted by other organizations who want to partner or want to do some event, and those always work out really well for us. It's a way to, because what happens is we end up capturing not only our audience but their audience as well. And so we need some space in the calendar where if we get proposals for new events or whatnot, we can take those on and ensure that they're done well. Then of course, May, we have Memorial Day. We're also closing Vietnam at War and at Home. I already talked a little bit about that. June will be Flag Day and Pride Fest again. July will be the U.S. Grant Symposium. August is the matinees at the Memorial. September will be Stand Down and Stand Up. And that's, again, that's turning into a major event for us each year. Kind of one of these things that keeps growing every year. And then also we'll be opening that Ghost Army exhibit. October is an open month, and then November, Veterans Day, of course, every November. That'll be November 9th this year, the Saturday prior to the 11th. And then in December, this is a new program that we haven't done yet, but we're going to be working with our folks up at the History Museum. There's an African American History Initiative, and we're going to partner with those folks and see if we can kick off a December Wendell Pruitt celebration of African American service. If you recall, December 14th, 1944 was Wendell Pruitt Day in St. Louis. Tuskegee Airman fighter ace who came back and was celebrated by the city met the mayor, received a fancy gold watch from the mayor, a great image of these, of that day in our gallery. So kind of building off of that historic event to create an event each December that recognizes excellence in African-American service. So we're not really quite sure what that event's going to look like yet, but that'll be happening. So that's kind of what the calendar of events look like, and how we hope to again pull off very high quality events while making sure that they're receiving excellent marketing and communication service, and doing everything as best we can that way. So I think that's all I have. More than happy to take questions or comments or whatnot, but we're excited for 24. It feels like a year of kind of new stability. We have kind of a seasoned staff now. We have Lydia Prebish has been the education coordinator for over a year and a half now, and she's doing just excellent work developing both stuff for schools, but then also stuff for tours as well, our guided adult tours, and working closely with our volunteer docents, and all that stuff really is starting to feel a little bit more seasoned, and feeling a little bit more like we have a really strong control over it, and know exactly what we want to do and where we want to go with it. Collections, of course, Kate and Ella are doing incredible work over at 1520 Market Street in the collection storage space. They have just recently completed the rehousing of all of the flags, and that's whether some of the flags end up being rolled, many of the other flags end up being stored in this incredibly large flag storage cabinet that we have, the biggest drawers you've ever seen, that can hold these flags in a flat. So that's the best way to preserve them. So they just completed flag rehousing. They're hot and heavy into rehousing all of the uniforms and reorganizing all of those over there as well. So great collections work is happening. Just really good things. Molly just picked up a new intern, going to be doing some work with her as far as program coordination and rental coordination, and just good stuff happening. Again, happy to take any questions or comments.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much. That sounds really good. I was just thinking about, in terms of the attendance, maybe also one of the ways you could measure the success of Soldiers Memorial would be the impact on the community and that sort of things. That maybe, attendance is obviously key, but also you got to think of things like how you are reaching out to people and the effect that you're having in the community at large. And those things may be not always reflected in just strict attendance numbers.
Sure.
But working with these other organizations and, making Soldiers Memorial available for different events and that sort of thing, like the VA art program in the spring, those sorts of things. Those are a tremendous impact on the community, I would say, but may not reflect increased attendance numbers all the time.
Yeah, that's a great point, Linnea. Excellent. I think, we're just excited too, I think, to be a part of. It's interesting where my apartment is. I'm in Lafayette Square, and we're up on the 5th floor, and I can look down onto the city from there, and I can see a lot of St. Louis from the Arch, really all the way over to Clayton. And there's a lot of really excellent things that have happened in St. Louis since I've been here, just in the past 5 years. If you start with the Arch and just move your way west, the whole refurbishment and renovation of the Arch, the museum, the grounds, all of that, Keener Plaza, City Garden, and then you get to Soldiers Memorial. You get the renovations that have happened at the Enterprise Center. Then you move over to the Union Station, and you have the aquarium and the Ferris wheel. Across the street, you have the soccer stadium. I mean, there's just a tremendous, as much naysaying as there is about downtown St. Louis, there is a a tremendous amount of good that's happening, and it's really cool that that Soldiers Memorial is kind of a part of all that. And like you said, finding the ways beyond attendance, what role we play in the community, and ensuring that that we're good partners, that we're doing good things with our neighbors, and that we're bringing everybody up it's cool. It's a neat thing to be a part of. But yeah.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any comments for Mark? Another thing I thought of too was with the films in August. One thing that might attract maybe a different type of person, but maybe would attract more attendance, is if it was more, I want to say academic, and that you had some people who were commenting on the films and putting them in a historical perspective, and rooting them in a context, if you will, for military history, but also for the time that they were made and that sort of thing. That might actually, you could maybe tap into some more sort of geeky or whatever,
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, no, that's a great thing. And I talked to Andrew Schleicher, who works here with us, and he has a professor at SLU who does historic war film studies. And so, yeah, Lenny, I think that's a really cool idea. And I think we're going to reach out to him. I don't know if he works this summer with these two films, but I'll probably reach out to him anyway. But certainly that context, I think would be helpful, and help people ground them. Last summer we did Forrest Gump, and we did a movie called Rescue Dawn, which is a POW movie. Both good movies, but we didn't do that element of, why does this matter, or what's compelling about this. And I'm a big TCM fan. I watch more TCM than I should. So those guys that do the intros to those movies, like that type of thing, would be really cool, I think.
Yeah, and I always think of the films that come out, like, you can just a straight historian, not necessarily a film historian, I think would be interesting, because really a film like about the what's the one that's called that you're having in August, about the
Oppenheimer and the
yeah, that would be really good, and not to just look at the film, which was made in 2023, but to actually give a really good context of what was really going on, and maybe how they portray it, whether that's close or not, doesn't matter as much as that people are learning about Oppenheimer and have become more interested in it again. So yeah, really a lot of good stuff you could do with that. And I too am a fan of TCM and watch far too much of it as well. Yep. Yeah. Does anybody else have any comments or for Mark?
Sounds like a busy year.
Yeah.
And in last year and this year, it sounds exciting, the programming.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think so. Anybody have anything else? Anything else? Well, if not, thanks again, Mark. It all sounds wonderful, and thank you for all the good work you do over at Soldiers Memorial.
Hey, thanks, Linnea.
So I'll just move on to our next thing on the agenda, which is call for questions, new business, and announcements. Does anybody have anything? Hearing none. Yeah. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second? I'll second it. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? I'm hearing none. I'll adjourn the meeting of the Soldiers Memorial Commission. It is 3:37 p.m. and today is Thursday, January 18th, 2024. Thank you, everyone, for attending.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Yeah. Happy New Year, everybody.
Bye.